Out of all the religions in the world, only one has proof in its writings that it is inspired by the one and only true God, and that is Christianity. We saw in the previous study of the 70 weeks in Daniel 9 the messianic prophecies that came true down to the very year of Christ's baptism. The prophecies in the book of Daniel also foretold the rise and fall of 4 world kingdoms with unmistakable accuracy. The prophecy also extends to the end of time, giving us confidence that the rest will come true as well. Let's see the proof using the Bible and history books. The book of Daniel, chapter 2. During the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, Jerusalem was conquered, and Daniel and others were taken to Babylon as captives. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. Daniel 1:1. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princess, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning and knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. Daniel 1:3-4. Because the Jews had disobeyed God, he allowed them to be taken captive by Babylon for 70 years. Daniel 9:2. During that time he preserved for himself a remnant who had repented. Among them was Daniel, whom he used to proclaim the true God to the pagan king. During this time, God gave King Nebuchadnezzar a dream. And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king, and the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Daniel 2:1-3. What was the king's command when his counselors failed to reveal and interpret his dream? Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show thee the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, The thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. Daniel 2:4-5. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. Daniel 2:11-12. What did Daniel ask of the king when he learned about the death decree? Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house, and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Daniel 2:16-18. When the king asked Daniel if he could make known his dream and the interpretation, what was Daniel's response? The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, The secret which the king has demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, show unto the king, but there is a God in heaven that reveals secrets, and makes known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Daniel 2:26-28. Why did God give the king of Babylon this dream? As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. Daniel 2:29. In this dream, God revealed the rise and fall of the empires that would have a direct influence on his people and would also prove to future generations that he was the only true God, knowing the end from the beginning. Isaiah 46:10. What did Daniel say the king saw in his dream, and what were the different metals of the statue? Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Daniel 2:31-34. Let's look at what each of the metals of the statue represent and compare them to history books to see if they came true as prophesied in the Bible. What did the head of gold represent? Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven has given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given unto thine hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. Daniel 2:37-38. It represented the kingdom of Babylon. Babylon, 612 BC to 539 BC, gold. The Battle of Nineveh in 612 BC marked the beginning of the Babylonian Empire. Would Babylon last forever? What was the metal that represented the next kingdom? And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Daniel 2:39. His breast and his arms of silver. Daniel 2:32. The Bible predicted that Babylon would be overthrown and even called Cyrus, king of Persia, by name before he was even born. Thus says the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. Isaiah 45:1. This actually happened when the gates of Babylon, which were along the river, were left open the night that Cyrus marched his army into the empty channel. Medo-Persia, from 539 BC to 331 BC, silver. In 539 BCE, the greatest city of the ancient world fell to the Persians. Britannica.com. What metal would represent the kingdom that followed Medo-Persia? And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Daniel 2:39. Greece, 331 BC to 168 BC, brass. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great conquers Persia. Wikipedia.org. What metal represents the fourth kingdom? And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. Daniel 2:40. Rome, from 168 BC to AD 476, iron. 168 BC, beginning of Roman world domination. AD 476, end of Roman Empire. What would happen after the fall of the Roman Empire? And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Daniel 2:41-42. 10 tribes, Europe, AD 476 to present, iron and clay. 10 tribes of Europe versus modern Europe. Alemannia is now Germany, Franks are France, Burgundian, Switzerland, Suave, Portugal, Lombards, Italy, Visigoths, Spain, Anglo-Saxons, England. The Vandals, Herulites, and Ostrogoths were all destroyed. Would these 10 kingdoms ever succeed in uniting? Many, like Napoleon and Hitler, tried to build a new European empire that would rule the world, but prophecy foretold that they would not be successful. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Daniel 2:43. What does the stone do to the other kingdoms? Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out with hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Daniel 2:34. They were broken in pieces, that no place was found for them. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff on the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. Daniel 2:35. Which kingdom was represented by the stone that smote the image, and who will set up the final kingdom? And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. Daniel 2:35. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Daniel 2:44. Read Matthew 25:31-34. After hearing Daniel's interpretation of the dream, what did Nebuchadnezzar say about the Lord? The king answered unto Daniel and said, Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods, and a Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Daniel 2:47. In this study of Daniel 2, we saw how the Bible predicted 4 world empires, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome, would arise in perfect order. These fulfilled Bible prophecies prove that God is real, because no one knows the future but God. It also gives us confidence that the rest of the prophecies mentioned in the Bible will also come true. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done. Isaiah 46:9-10. Jesus said, And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, you might believe. John 14:29.